Have you ever felt completely lost when learning how to trade? Well, don't worry, you are not alone because I definitely felt that, especially getting started. I felt like there was so much information. I didn't know what was true and I didn't know what I should actually be using in order to improve and start making money inside of the market. Well, in this video, I'm going to break down some very simple things that you need to focus on while getting started and learning how to trade these markets, as well as a simple 4-step plan in order for you to get started and simplify your trading experience. So one of the common reasons why new traders feel overwhelmed and stressed out, especially when they're trying to trade and learn how to trade, is because there is simply too much information. A lot of time new traders, and including myself, I'm talking about all the things and all the traps that I fell into. So don't think I'm just trying to point the finger, because I was that person as well. And it wasn't until I learned these things that I'm getting ready to talk about that helped me be better. But one of the biggest things, it's not lack of information. Sometimes it is, but most times it's too much information. It's too much information, especially because you may see so many videos on YouTube promising get rich quick and all these other things, which, as we know at this point, is not true. What we really need to focus on is basically the process. So some of the downsides to trying to learn everything at once is, first off, too many strategies. Maybe you thought you wanted to be a scalper. Maybe you want to be a swing trader. Maybe you want to be an intraday trader. And trying to choose between the different ones can be very confusing. I know for me, when I first came in, I was doing a little bit of scalping, a little bit of day trading, and then later I went to swing trading, and now I'm mostly focused on swing trading. But it can be very confusing from that aspect. And then also, what sort of strategy should you be using? Should you use support and resistance, supply and demand, and whatever else is out there on the internet? But that can make it confusing as well. Have you ever thought that you had to sit in front of charts all day in order to make money from the markets? Well, in this How to Trade with a Full-Time Job kit, I'm going to show you how to master trading in just 1 hour per day without sacrificing your job. You're going to get the strategies that I personally use in order to be able to make time in order to trade and learn and do whatever else I need to do inside of my life. So in this 31 video digital program, you're going to learn some strategies that I've used that you can confidently replicate in your own life in order to be able to trade the markets. And then I'm going to show you how to not get fired for trading and use some ethical ways in order to shine at work and build the skill. Because like you, I'm working full time and I also want to get promoted. So I'm going to show you a whole bunch of other things as well. So that way I can get the promotion, I could get trading and make money from the markets. So if you want this, go ahead and check this out. And then in order to enhance your trading experience, then you can go ahead and check out this 4-video module where I show you my most profitable candlestick patterns that I use currently inside of the market. And it's only $47, so go ahead and add this to your cart and I will see you there. And constantly switching your trading strategy or methodology could cause confusion and doubt. And one of the things that I want to provide in this video is a way for you to clear all of that and give you a very simple plan in order for you to follow, in order to not have all these things going on in the back of your mind. If you can just focus on these 4 things I'm getting ready to tell you, then it's going to be really profitable for you. It's going to be a much better journey and it's going to be less stressful because you will have just these 4 things to focus on in order to improve your trading. So first and foremost, the one thing that I want you to focus on is just focus on trading one market and one market alone. It's really easy to hop into, well, oh, this person made some money from this market, let me try that. Or this person made a bunch of money from this market, let me try that. And that just doesn't work, because if you're jumping from market to market to market, it's really hard to understand the movement of that market that you're possibly trying to master. So if you pick one market that you're currently trading and just focus on that for at least 30 days, then you're going to be good as far as being able to read that market essentially like a book. And one of the reasons, and I didn't know this earlier, one of the reasons why people who are trading just one market are so good at it is because that's all they focus on. So when you look at that market day in, day out, or maybe if you trade on a longer term, maybe weekly basis, then you get a better sense of what's happening inside of that market during many different situations. Maybe it's a news release, a data release, or something that happened in the middle of nowhere, and that affects the market. So if you study that one market, then it gives you the opportunity to really go deep into that market and to really understand it. And people who just hop into it because somebody made some money from it, or maybe you're the person that made some money from it, then they're going to be at a disadvantage because they don't have all of that background knowledge from that particular market to know, well, why it made the move it did. So that's why, especially when I do the Chart With Me Gold videos or any other videos, I'm really focused on that market. And I do look at other markets at this point because I am more advanced. But when I focus on that market, I'm able to really understand the movements of it. And I'm able to compile all the information and notes that I have over a period of time and be able to offer that to people. If you want to check that out, it's called the Profitable Go Market Blueprint. It's down in the description box below. But basically, it's a collection of all of the notes that I took over time to be able to really understand that market and some of the movements inside of that market. So if you're looking to trade, either that market, this isn't a recommendation or anything, it's just what I do. But if you want to trade that market or some other market, just really go deep into that market and fully understand the reasons why the price did what it did inside of that market in order for you to get better at it. So the other thing that is really helpful is to focus on one strategy. There are so many strategies here. And when I talk about strategy, I'm not necessarily talking about swing trading versus day trading versus scalping, because sometimes depending on the market movement, your scalp may turn into a day trade or your day trade may turn into a swing trade, especially if you want to continue to ride that momentum inside of that market. But what I mean is, if you want to focus on support and resistance as your strategy, stick with that. Supply and demand, which is essentially the same thing, but supply and demand, stick with that strategy, or some other strategy that you learn, stick with that strategy. And then once again, stick with that strategy for at least 30 days. Because when you stick with it and you see that strategy work in different scenarios, then you gain information and you know that, oh, well, when this happens inside of the market, then the potential for the market to do this thing, and then I can capitalize on that. So that's how you get those little bits and pieces of information that you can't necessarily pick up from a book or a video or from some mentor, because you're actually the person inside of the market looking at it, and you can make those minor adjustments based on your style, your personality, and have a totally different strategy, all by focusing on one thing and really understanding that strategy inside and out. So don't hop from strategy to strategy, because I did that and it took longer. I believe that trading took much longer when I did that, instead of just sticking to the one thing and just seeing it through for maybe 30 days and then 60, then 90, and then a year. So when I stuck with a strategy that I was learning for 1 year, like one solid year. I mean, really, it was more like 8 to 9 months, but then I continued to use it after that. That 8 to 9 month mark is when I start to see profitability, and then consistent profitability. And so I continue to stick with that strategy, and that's a strategy that I mostly talk about here on this channel. So just sticking with that, that is what's going to take you from being confused and losing money to possibly to break even, and then possibly to being consistently profitable inside of the market. But at the beginning of the video, I talked about providing a roadmap or a 4-step strategy in order for you to be able to reduce the noise, focus on the process of learning trading, and then eventually all of those things can lead to you becoming a consistently profitable trader, especially because as a new trader, that's what I wanted at that time, and that's what I still want as a trader, and I would imagine that that's something that you're looking for as well. So the 4 steps that I mentioned, the first, I already talked about it, but find a market that you like. One market, that's it. And the second thing is to find a strategy that you like. One strategy, that's it. Just stick with that. And then the other thing you can do in order to get some practice with that market is to go on to a demo account. Depending on your broker, they may have a free demo account for you to test out your strategy and then just get used to the movement of that particular market. That's going to help out a lot. I know when I was looking at gold and just trying to get the understanding of that market, I did do simulation trading, which is a little different different than demo. So really quick, the difference between a demo account and a simulation account is a demo. You are basically trading in real time, and you have to wait for that trade to play out in order for you to know whether or not your strategy worked. Whereas a simulation account, you can actually speed up the time and take a trade, speed up the time, and then you will know in a matter of seconds whether or not it worked out. So I prefer that because I could basically analyze a week's worth of data, a month's worth of data in just a few hours versus having to wait in real time for that strategy to play out inside of the demo market. So it's just something for you to think about and to play with if that's something you want to do. And then the other thing that I'm a really big fan of, and that I did earlier in my trading career as well, is basically to take a small amount of money and then trade that live money in real time. So even if I was risking, let's just say $5 on a trade, it was me getting all of the emotions and everything that comes with putting on a live trade with live money. Even though it was $5, I was still like trying to make sure that I didn't lose it. But if I did lose it, I'm like, okay, it's just $5, you know? So that was something that was very interesting to me as well, and then helped me out a lot as far as being able to take live trades. If you are tired of missing out on gold, in this blueprint, you're going to get an easy to follow profitable gold trading table, as well as profitable entry levels and strategies. If you've tried to decode things like FOMC, geopolitical events, you may have tried without much success. And in this blueprint, you're also going to master simple strategies that the big players like banks and institutions follow, and then also be able to spot profitable opportunities so that way you could avoid some of the common traps that other traders fall into. And then, of course, you're going to save hours of research with a clear and actionable plan inside of the gold market. Just take a look at what some people are saying about this. So go ahead and grab your copy of the Profitable Gold Market Blueprint today. And then the fourth thing is just to keep a journal. You can just use a simple Google Sheet or a Google document or whatever you want to use to be able to keep your trades in. And then I actually use a physical notebook that I use to take notes in order to keep track of the things that I've learned. So that's something that could also help you as well. But make sure that you follow all 4 steps in order to help you be consistent. And then another thing I wanted to say is to stay focused. So if you set daily or weekly limits on yourself in terms of only look at the chart during a certain amount of time or for a certain period of time, that's going to help you as well. Because one of the things that I did earlier in my journey, and I constantly have to remind myself of this, is every time I pop up on the chart, it doesn't mean that it's time for me to take a trade. Or every time I go to the chart and I'm monitoring my position, it doesn't mean that it's time for me to get out. So just keeping track of how much time you actually spend on the charts and making sure that you stick with your, say if you got like a 2-hour window to analyze the charts, stick with that. And if not, you may drive yourself a little bit crazy as far as looking at the charts all the time and feeling the need to look at the charts, especially if you have a live position open. I know I constantly have to remind myself of that even to this day. Just glance at it for a second, close the app, close the phone, and walk away. And that's what I do. So that's what I do now. But it was really hard to do that in the beginning where I was looking at every single movement, driving myself crazy, especially when I put on a trade. Don't compare your journey and where you're at now to somebody else's journey years and years away, because if you do that, you're just going to drive yourself crazy. I'm speaking from experience. So when I start to focus on my own self, my own process, and things that I can do inside of my trading in order to get better, then that is when my trading took off. So it's just a bunch of different points where I got these realizations and it improved my trading over a period of time. And it's going to happen for you like that, especially if you are consistent and you stick with it, especially if you use your journal in order to track the things that you've seen inside of the market. And I would also log, how you were feeling. Like, for instance, if you were anxious putting on a trade, why were you anxious? Just kind of monitor those emotions, because especially as a beginner, it's very emotional to take a trade. Whereas when you get more seasoned and when you get more experience under your belt in terms of trading in the live market, there will be less emotion, way less emotion. I have way less emotion now than I did before. So you'll have way less emotion, and you will be able to perform better because you're not as emotional when the market does this as it normally does inside of the market. And then another thing you can do is to invest in high quality resources, whether it is a trading community or trading products. Basically, look at that as an investment in yourself. You're investing in your knowledge and you're investing in yourself as a trader because you are committed to the process and you want to get better. YouTube can only take you so far. And there are a lot of amazing creators on here who create high quality content. So consume that content. And if you want to save time, then look at making the investment in yourself to work with someone in order to get up to speed or where you want to be a lot faster. And if you want to check out some of the resources that I have here, then go ahead and check out the description box below where there are links to things that you could check out and see if it's a right fit for you. And if so, I'd be happy to welcome you inside of our community and inside of our world. So go ahead and check those out. If you like this video, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. If you've made it to the end, then go ahead and comment the word focus, mainly because the fact that you've made it to the end of this video says a lot about you and your commitment to the trading journey. Go ahead and focus, comment focus below, and I will see you in the next video.